Hello, everybody. It is April 2nd. Hello to folks watching us around the world as you join us each and every day for Up to Speed Live. Certainly appreciate that. I want to get right to the updates today. Hans, good afternoon, sir. How are you, and what's new in your world today?
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, V-teamers. I know you're all across the globe. That's the feedback we get from you, that you actually are attending this wherever you are. A couple of things this morning. I always remember ourselves, what is the mission we have in these days. Beyond our purpose that I talked about yesterday is, of course, to keep ourselves health and safety in these times, and see that all our employees are in that status, which is in these times even or extremely important. And then, of course, keeping up the networks and seeing that they are performing as they should in these times where the networks are so critical. So I will start today talk a little bit about the network statistics. We will come out with some new data from the technology team later on today. What you see now week over week is that we're flattening out. Remember, VPN was up dramatically, gaming up over 100% and all of that in the beginning. If you now look week over week, it's basically almost flat. I think VPN is up 4% only from last week. That means that many people are now home working, and it's not so many more that we're adding to that. The gaming is also only up 1%. Of course, it doubled last week, but now it's fairly stable. The same goes with web traffic and streaming, etc. Not any huge jump. Of course, it's jump of 2-3%, but it's not huge. And I think that's telling us that this country, US, which we're measuring this on, or in another state when it comes to society and how we're behaving. The other thing that we have been measuring, which is also extremely interesting to see, is of course the handoffs, the mobile handoffs in the network, where users are moving between different cells. The average is down now some 29% nationally. We move 29% less between the radio cells, but it's also very different from state to state. I mean, the New York City metro area is down 53%. So 53% less mobile handoffs in the network in New York City, which is just astonishing. If you then look at some other example like Southern California, down 35%, etc. So it's different from different states depending on what type of regulation is there and how people are behaving. So that's really interesting to see from the network that it's so different. But again, our team on the network team in the field, in the NOCs and engineering team are doing a great job. The network is doing really well in this time. And I had several calls this morning with large enterprises, and I actually going to steal one quote from I spoke to the CEO of Walmart this morning. I haven't told him that I'm going to announce it, but I talked to him this morning, and I'm reading straight from what was his first line to us. And I think this is telling a lot about us as V-teamers. Hans, thanks for everything you're doing. Your performance has been extraordinary in these times of pandemic. That's what he told us. It just tells me how we are showing up in these times when networks are so important. And for Walmart, if the connectivity is not working, it's just going to be impossible to run their operation. That is so crucial that groceries and all other things they're selling could be coming out in the market. So I think that sort of puts a very nice wrapper on what we're doing and how customers are showing up. A couple of other things. Tonight, we have now every Tuesday and Thursday, we have it Pay It Forward. And tonight we have One Republic there, so that's going to be great. So tune in 8 o'clock. I think Jeremy will probably push it even harder later on, but I think it's just a great way to share with friends and family these home concerts, as we call them. It's a great. Two final things. Thank you for all the pulse. Christy will talk more about it, but thank you for so many in such a short time responding to us. It will help us to be even better and continue this communication. And then I also have to, on a personal note, which was not my intention, but thank you all for sending emails congratulating me for 3 years in the company. That was not the intention why I said it. I said it because I'm proud to be here, and I was proud to be part of the V-teamers, and it was actually the right choice to join this company, and it's a blessing that I was recruited. That was the reason, not that you should congratulate me for the 3 years. But here I am, and I'm happy, even though it's tough times. And my thoughts are every day when we have our morning calls with our employees and the extended V-team family that has been impacted by the COVID-19, and that's tough. But it has to be a balance in between them, and that's why I also want to send the message that we are continuing to do great for our customers and our society. Jeremy, back to you.
Thank you, Hans. Thank you. Yeah, Pay It Forward tonight with Ryan Tedder from One Republic. Can't wait to see that. And don't forget all the good stuff. I'll mention this again, but might as well mention it now. All the good stuff that our Pay It Forward series is doing for small businesses around the country. Joining us today as our special guest is Andrés Irlando. He is the head of our public sector group, and I got to tell you, you're seeing a lot of what he and his team do, and they're really coming to a crisis and doing great things. So I want to get a quick update from him and some questions for him as well down the line. Andrés, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing great, Jeremy. Thank you. So we've talked a lot so far on up to speed on the great work that the company is doing on behalf of our first responders and our public safety community in general. But I want to expand that, use my time to expand that. There's so much more that we're doing as a company for our public sector customers and helping them deliver on their critical missions. So I might add just a few examples here. There's thousands of examples I could give, but in a few categories. So I think about what we're doing for the military as an example. It's extraordinary. It's been less than a week, but it's already become an iconic picture of the United States Navy ship Comfort sailing into the New York harbor past the Statue of Liberty to come and to assist with New York and the pandemic there. It just as a V-teamer, you swell with pride thinking that ship is literally saving lives, and we played a role in ensuring that it had data and voice services so it could connect back to its headquarters. On the school front, Jeremy, we are literally at the forefront of helping with distance learning and helping in this process to bridge some of the digital divide that's been made worse by this pandemic. So we've talked a lot about the Los Angeles School District. That's a place that's near and dear to my heart. We are enabling, as we've talked about, 120,000 students who otherwise wouldn't have internet access, who otherwise wouldn't be able to continue their schooling. Our teams under Maggie Hallback and her team, they're ensuring that those schools can continue to operate, those children can continue to learn. And by the way, that's only the tip of the iceberg. I mean, we're literally enabling hundreds of school districts across the country to continue to educate our kids. And stay tuned, Jeremy, because I anticipate here shortly we'll have some other announcements related to other big cities that we're enabling in this way. But it's just, I mean, the list goes on. You think about federal, state, local government agencies that we're helping. The examples, there's so many Verizon unsung heroes that are working behind the scenes to help these agencies deliver for their constituents. One of my favorites, and I unfortunately can't name the state, but it's near and dear to all V-teamers. A very large state, a very important state during this pandemic. We're helping their Department of Labor. They're using our technology to process unprecedented levels of unemployment claims. So, our technology, our teams are helping to provide that social safety net to people who so desperately need it. That same state, by the way, the governor of that state asked us to use our technology to connect manufacturers of critical equipment and masks those who are desperately in need. So there's so much great work, Jeremy. The Verizon response team, Hans has talked a lot about them. We're up to 200 plus engagements at this point at military installations, airports, lots of public venues. We're delivering portable cell sites to establish emergency operation centers. We're doing remote testing centers, staging centers. I mean, just the list goes on and on. And by the way, Jeremy, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention our public health and healthcare professionals and the work we're doing there to keep healthcare professionals connected to their patients, connected to each other. We're enabling doctors to work remotely and thereby lessening the impact that we're having on hospitals. Telehealth. There's so much we're doing in telehealth, telemedicine, from IVRs to call centers to added capacity. It's really it's an inspiring time. We've talked a lot on this Up to Speed about how scary this is for many. There's real fear and discouragement. But I tell you, as part of the public sector team, the pride that I feel, the inspiration of watching Verizon, so many teams in Verizon across VBG, network, marketing, public policy, legal, finance, you name it. Together, we're running to this crisis. Together, we're helping our public sector customers deliver essential services. And really, in the end, Jeremy, what we're doing is we're helping to deliver hope, which is so desperately needed right now.
Oh, those are encouraging words. And I would say the other side of that, you talk about the U.S. Navy ship Comfort that docked in New York City earlier this week and how the team came together with that. We were able to catch up with some of the folks on the ground who made that happen. I just want to share that experience with you right now. Go ahead and roll that tape.
We got a heads up kind of late in the day, Thursday, and Comfort was leaving on Saturday morning with an expected arrival in New York City on Monday.
She's a floating hospital, 1,000 beds, 12 operating rooms. So like with any other hospital, it needs to have IT capability, reach back, associated with all the back office systems of operating a hospital. Essentially,
they needed to support onboard comms, and they were also actively communicating with the USNS Mercy, who is in California. We understood the importance of the mission both for our direct customer, which is DISA and the Navy, but we also understood the importance of the mission to New York City. And it is all hands on deck 24/7 until we deliver something.
I knew we needed to be on the move. We needed to make sure we had fiber and copper facilities at the port. And so overnight, we were able to assemble this team who were able to actually go out there and do what it takes 30 days to do and get it all done in a day or two.
I saw an email come across about the ship being brought into Pier 90 by 8 o'clock the next morning. Myself and several other Verizon employees were on site.
The PMO and order management and engineering and field tech teams literally worked, through the night, all day Saturday and all day Sunday. And by Sunday mid-afternoon, we had completed the objective and we were ready to receive the Comfort on Monday.
This was a massive team effort involving 50 plus people across multiple organizations inside Verizon. Everybody kind of rallied around the moment, and it was just amazing to watch everybody come together.
I think we're always there at crunch time. I've been there for 9/11. I was there for this coronavirus. I'll be there for the next. Hopefully there is not one, but when duty calls, I will be there.
Every one of us were glued to the TV on Monday as we watched that ship come rolling in. And we all knew that we had a very small part of being able to deliver services for that mission. And it's really an honor to be a part of those types of projects and to watch Verizon resources really rise to the occasion to support that.
Rising to the occasion, honored to be part of those types of things. Hats off to all the team down there making that happen, not only there, around the country, around the world, making these connections happen. More questions for Andrés in a moment. I want to get over to Christy, our HR leader right now, for a few quick updates as well. Good afternoon, Christy.
Hi, Jeremy. Thanks for doing the broadcast again today. We know that we're able to reach so many folks, and it's a great way for us to stay connected in this crisis. And we know it's so important for people to reach out and stay connected to their family and their colleagues and their coworkers. while many of us observing shelter-in-place instructions. So a couple of things for all of the V-teamers out there. You heard from Hans. We did our 3-day pulse survey. The team is actively processing all the results today so we can share them with you here tomorrow. But just a peek in the box, we got 99,313 responses, so 73%. Really excited, especially given with all of the disruption and the remote access and things like that as we've pivoted. That's just fabulous to know we reached just under 100,000 folks. And 85% of you have said you have confidence that the leadership is taking the right steps to emerge and process the challenges that are facing us. We will have all the answers tomorrow, as well as we'll be able to break it down and share with you what some of the actions are that Hans and the VLC will take coming out of the feedback. And like we said, we're going to pulse you again in another 2 weeks. So really looking forward to that tomorrow. Jeremy, the other thing that's really been our main focus this week has been adjusting to this new normal. We spent the last 2 weeks of March really at speed adjusting to how we could get folks to a work-at-home environment or to modify some of the work protocols for roles that had to be done in the field, many of whom you feature in the videos every day. And so we've got over 30,000 people that have gone through training to take on their role from a home setting or be working on and learning new skills to be able to contribute in a work from home. So more to come, but the workforce development and learning teams are working closely with our managers and employees to get training for jobs, as well as tips, training, broadcasts that people can watch on effective ways to work in a new remote setting. Building on that, our real focus, since we're likely to be in this situation now, at least for another 4 weeks or more, we want to make sure that everybody can contribute. So this week we surveyed all of our folks in retail, and discussions are going on with Christy's team and all of the members of the retail store organization today and tomorrow. So everybody has a role to play starting on Monday in the organization going forward, just given the fact that we've got some of our footprint closed to comply with and support all the efforts to contain COVID. In addition, we're doing the same for our VBG team that was linked to the retail stores. And next week, we should be able to open up the portal then for managers and employees to find available interim assignments. And then finally, I just want to remind everybody we have a lot of resources for you. We thank you for using them. We want to remind you, Up to Speed app came online this week, so you could download that. We always have our COVID webpage, which has a link from the Up to Speed app, but that's also always there on VZ Web for you. And then finally, you're using the Ask Christy box, which I really appreciate. If you can't find what you need, just shoot us a note. And we've had 1,500 inquiries so far since we launched it last Monday, and just under 600 already Monday through Wednesday of this week. So thank you for that. And so, Jeremy, I would just say the V team is doing an amazing job. And we'll hear more from Andrés today, but another part of the Verizon Business Group is doing something amazing to pay it forward and bring our communities together. The team in Tammy's organization has brought together some restaurants in New York City, along with hospitals and Grubhub, and they're delivering food to the hospitals that we're providing for free to the hospital employees for the month of April. And we're going to be continuing to work with Grubhub to see about ways we can expand that. But it's just another example of our Verizon Business Group finding ways to help society in their time of need. And lastly, you all got a challenge from Andy on this morning's Up to Speed edition. And we want to find a way to make sure we're sharing some stories about how people are adjusting to their new normal and looking at some good news stories that you have out there. And I want to give a shout out to Catherine Schilling, one of our employees, who started a Facebook site posting pictures of rainbows in her neighborhood. And she already has 45,000 followers. So we want you to share stories with us at good@verizon.com. Thanks, Jeremy. Back to you.
Thanks, Ed. That was a good one to see this morning, and certainly always appreciate the musical talents of my good friend and buddy, Andy Choi. I know a lot of other folks have a lot of talents that we're seeing around the business as well. I want to jump into some of the questions now. I'm going to start with Andrés on this. You mentioned the story of the response team down in Alabama. I want to know a little bit more about that, but how does the team continue to serve businesses through this time? And I think that's a good example of that.
Yeah, I mean, so Jeremy, the challenge with the public sector team, whether it's the great work that Mike Myrana and his team do with the military or with law enforcement at the federal level, is there's incredible work this team is doing all the time, but there's so little of it we can actually talk about. I know that's a little bit of a buzzkill for the webcast, but just rest assured, and I'd ask viewers to rest assured that you can be extremely proud of the work that your team does in the public sector side for state and local government on a regular basis. But the story out of Alabama this weekend, that's an incredibly heartwarming story, Jeremy. So last weekend, maybe some of you saw this in Lee County, Alabama. If you're not familiar with that part of the country, that's where Auburn University is. A 4-year-old girl and her dog, the little girl named Evelyn Side, and her dog Lucy were playing apparently in a friend's backyard, and they wandered off into the woods behind the house. And unfortunately, and quite scary, they were missing for 2 days. And Lee County called up Verizon, our response team specifically. We're the only network provider that has reception in that area, and asked if we could join the search and rescue efforts. And of course, we jumped right on it. We rolled a spot out, which is a satellite cell trailer. We set up a portable internet solution. We deployed mobile phones, portable generators, you name it. And I'm really happy to report that Evelyn and Lucy made it home safe and sound. And for those of you who follow the VRT team, you know that this is nothing new for them. They work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, helping to protect life, property through hurricanes, tornadoes, wildfires. They're really among the truest heroes that we have in Verizon.
Yeah, that is a remarkable story. And, to speak to the names we can't name, but know that we're connecting them is always a great thing as well. So I appreciate that. I want to hop over to Hans real quick for this next question here. Obviously, a lot of folks are wondering, hey, what happens to the current network builds that we've been doing? Where do those stand, and specifically around 5G?
That's a good question. And of course, as I said several times before, I try to see that my team and myself are dividing the time with this crisis management that is so important. But I also share my time on actually working on our normal strategy and executing what we're doing. The same goes for Kyle, my lady, and his whole team. So they are continuing to roll out networks as it's possible, and we have all our focus to meet our targets for this year, even though it might be some unforeseen problems showing up further down the line. But so far, we're actually doing pretty well with our rollouts of 5G, fiber, and all of that. Because remember, this might be a situation that might be ongoing for quite a long time. We need, as a company, continue to evolve as our society evolves. So I try to see that my team is working with both what is in the future, what we need to continue with, as well as dealing with this extremely tough situation with the COVID-19. So the straight answer is they're rolling out. They are doing everything they can do with the circumstances that we have around us.
Good to know. And another piece of interesting information just came across to me. We talk about helping the different branches of the military services. There are some news stories around the USS Theodore Roosevelt that the captain was calling for assistance. And just so we all know that, there are people on board there that are Verizon wireless customers. We've been able to extend to them, relieving them of any roaming charges while they're there on the ship. So I wanted to share that with everybody, and that the folks there on the ship, if they need help, they do have a direct way to contact us. So the good things that we keep doing there for the community. And Christy, looks like you've got something to add as well.
I just want to tell you, Jeremy, that we have amazing support systems at Verizon with our vets, employee resource group, and Tommy Jones and the team, Lisa Damask from our HR team. And so they're also firing up some work to get some care packages off to some of the individuals that are on those boats. And so more ways that the V team is trying to support all of the parts of society on the front line.
No, that's remarkable. And Christy, real quick question for you. Some folks want to know, Other companies are halting or stopping things with 401ks. What's Verizon doing at this point?
Thanks for that question. We are not making any changes to our 401k plan at this point, and we're also working with Fidelity to update and get links to the COVID page so that many of you can link more quickly to some of the answers you have about those programs. But we've done everything we can to find ways to keep everybody productive and engaged, and need to do to keep the Verizon network up and running.
Good to know. Christy, thank you for that. Andreas, thank you for joining us. Hans, I want to turn over to you for your final thoughts on this Thursday. It is Thursday, everybody.
Thank you, Jeremy. I mean, first of all, thank you, Andres, and thank you, the whole team of you. It's so great to hear these stories. Because come back to what I start with all this Up to Speed Live with about our mission. The mission, safe and healthy our employees, but keeping up the networks. And when you hear the stories that Andres talks about and many, many others, you understand how important we are in this pandemic. I knew we were super important before we came into this, but now I know it's even more important. I mean, it's so critical that communication is up for life-saving rescues or hospitals, or only that we can actually have this webcast. That is actually extremely important. So I thank all the teamers. I thank Andres and his team talking about what they're doing. So we get the flavor for the hard and tough work we're doing in this time is actually paying off. And it's also great to talk to guys like the CEO of Walmart that I did earlier on, just to get the feedback. So I have always a huge gratitude for all the V-teamers for the ways you're dealing with this pandemic, COVID-19. I think I have my thoughts all the time with the V-teamers and their extended V-team families that has been impacted by COVID, which are many sort of in this country, in the world. And really seeing that we support you in the absolutely best way. So thank you for everything you're doing out there, guys. And remember to listen to the Pay It Forward tonight. It's a great way of spending half an hour, 45 minutes for a good cause, and hopefully some good entertainment as well. Jeremy, back to you.
Thank you for that, Hans. And I want to wrap with a thank you tonight before we talk more about Pay It Forward. Chris, let's go ahead and take that graphic there. This was an email that we got from one of our customers that went to Yoli Stancil, and a shout out to Yoli and her team, keeping folks connected here in the New York, New Jersey metro area. Jay Beasley in the city, Paul Sullivan up in New England. But this email came to her and wanted to share it from a customer in Rockaway, New Jersey. In light of the fact that video conferencing and telephone calls are the only methods of contact I have with my family, I'm so grateful for the fact that it has been consistently operating 24/7. I haven't seen my sons, daughter-in-law, or grandsons for many weeks now. However, I'm able to do the next best thing, which is to video chat with them at all our convenience. You all are doing an incredible job echoing what Hans has said. And then also, I want to talk about Pay It Forward tonight. We've got Ryan Tedder from One Republic, who will be appearing 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. You can catch that through Yahoo, Twitch, Verizon on Twitter. And if you're a High subscriber, channel 501, I know we will be tuning in here to take a look at that. So appreciate all of you joining us every single day, and want to end on this video talking about another business that we're helping keep connected, Kaiser Permanente. It's a U.S. healthcare provider, nearly 300,000 employees, and the work that we're doing right now to keep all of them connected. Have a great day. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
Kaiser is a healthcare entity in the United States. They have in total just under 300,000 employees. There are two main engagements that Verizon has with Kaiser. One is the services around the network management, and then there's a voice infrastructure entity.
We have call centers that are approximately 42 scattered throughout the United States, and we take phone calls for the call centers for membership, for clinical, making an appointment. And Verizon supports Kaiser as far as the infrastructure and architecture and technology to support that.
They expect that they will be soon overwhelmed, and so they're beginning to establish a temporary capability in the parking lots of their hospitals across the country in order to expand the number of beds that they can have available to care for their members as the needs arise. They want to make sure that Verizon is there as their partner to support the expansion and the extension of the network of connectivity for Wi-Fi and voice capabilities out there in the temporary locations.
So Kaiser has asked us to help them out along the way, and we make sure that we are as flexible as possible. The call centers are sometimes located within medical office buildings, and so getting those out of those hospitals and the medical office buildings has been crucial, and getting them the right equipment, making sure that they have the connectivity that they need, and making sure that they have the support that they need from Verizon in order to make that happen.
It's a fluid issue and effort for Kaiser. From 1 hour to the next, there's someone from one of our PMO teams on a call with Kaiser, supporting their needs, answering the questions, or providing information as it comes up.
They look at us as partners, not just a vendor, and we do work well together.